Hi, it's Jamie with UK Extension, and we're continuing to look at some really easy houseplants for beginners. In case you haven't been outside lately in the real world, and many of us haven't, houseplants are experiencing such a renaissance right now, and as someone who was a small kid in the 70s, I couldn't be happier because everyone had plants everywhere, and it was such a cool time. Yeah, it was also the era of macrame, and I'm not responsible for any of that. But nonetheless, an easy plant for many of you beginners who maybe weren't around for the first round in the 70s, or the first round I remember. There's been a lot of historical times houseplants have been popular. This is ZZ plant, which is what I'm trying to get to. It is probably one of the easiest plants to have indoors under low light conditions, and it still thrive and look really, really good. Oddly enough, this strange looking plant is technically in the same family as elephant ears. So if you look closely, and I think I can show you here, this is the swollen base. There's not actually a trunk to this plant. They come out from a big fat tuber like an elephant ear would have, so you don't produce a true stem. However, they can be easily propagated by just cutting off a section of stem. The plants are naturally from very hot, dry areas where they wouldn't get a lot of water, so about the only kiss of death for a ZZ plant would be to overwater. They can go a week, sometimes even two, without suffering unduly. Like any plant, they prefer an evenly moist soil that's allowed to dry out between waterings, but very slow growing, very few pest problems, tolerates low light, prefers bright indirect light, can take some of the low humidity levels we have in our homes, will always be happier, as any houseplant would be, outside in the shade in the summer. Not a lot of variety in this one. It's a single species making up this whole genus. But there is a cultivar on the market you should know about. This is called Raven. It is a dark purple leaf form of ZZ plant, and it's really striking when in new growth because the new growth emerges a really soft limey green against the dark foliage, and then that green foliage will darken. So these are all types of ZZ plant. Xanthia, Caucus, Zamia, Phylum, or some nonsense like that. ZZ is the way to remember it. Great plant, one of the easiest things to cut your teeth on if you're new to houseplants, and it's kind of hard to go wrong with this one. Maybe a little trouble finding it, but once you do, you'll have a great plant for a number of years.